Europa Way presenta, ladies and Gentiles. A promise is a promise, like my daughter says, and here he is. The best way I can put it is one of the dynamic duo that you asked for them, and we have Nick King on the intermission of today's interview of Gali Lucha Libre. Nick King, it's a pleasure and a privilege. I'm so giddy up to talk to you, brother.
It's a privilege to be on here, man. I got to be honest. I love coming to Gali every week, and I finally got to meet you. I think it's like a couple weeks ago. Actually, I don't think I ever met you until a couple weeks ago, and
Right.
You're a funny guy.
I usually try to stay away from, when at least when it's time to go on camera, then let's do our thing. You guys, and I'll talk about why I say you guys in a little bit. You had the internet lit, literally, when Carlos. I think it was in Ramada that Carlos was talking to you in the ring because the fans were so into what you guys just did on that particular match, and I had to interrupt Carlos and tell him that I needed you by the interview area. Why? Because the internet was lit. I literally said that the internet is on fire. So I mean, that particular day they had 8,000.8.3K.
Oh, wow.
Visit, views, drops, whatever you want to call them. So, I mean, the people wanted to know, who are you? I mean, what is it about you guys that and again, I will explain the you guys bit. But let's start by, with all that aside, and my segment aside, who is Nick King? Talk to me.
Nick King is one half of the Soul Fighters. Me and Orion Creed are the Soul Fighters together. But Nick King is pretty much just like a scrappy pitbull kind of guy. He'll do anything, whatever it takes to win. He's a fighter. Got a lot of heart. He's insanely tough. And I just love, going out there and leaving it all in the ring each and every night.
But I mean, I seen you guys very recent go up against guys much bigger than you,
mm-hmm.
and you wouldn't let back. I mean, you wouldn't let back on. I mean, it was like so much so that when I had the privilege of interviewing you, both of you had marks on your chest from I call them kicks with an open palm, because that's what it feels to me in the broadcast booth. But that was intense. That was intense. So let's keep rolling on that one. Let's keep rolling on that one. We can take that out. So yeah, I mean, you guys don't back down from a good fight. So that the fans get that, and that's why you guys are so popular with the fans, the Gali fans. So yeah, you guys don't back down from anybody. You go one-on-one, and that what the fans love about your style, because it's so, as you said, it's so scrappy yet so defined that I can't help myself behind the microphone imagine the fans, not imagine, because I seen it, I lived it, get in La Lucha itself. What made Nick King, or how young were you when you said, I want to do this, I want to become a pro wrestler?
I was probably about 7 or 8. I went over to my friend's house and we watched it. And then we watched Friday Night SmackDown at the time. And then I remember afterwards, we went on the trampoline and started wrestling around, picking each other up, slamming each other, and just stuff like that.
What I'm sure your folks were really happy about that.
Well, whenever I first saw it, I thought it all was real. So, I was talking to my parents about acting like it was legitimately real and everything like that. I thought that, somebody would actually get their neck broken and stuff like that. But it's like, no, he's okay. Like you can, it's okay. Like, but you're gonna hurt yourself because you're not trained. You know.
Right. That's the key point right there. What does speaking of your family, what does your family think about you being a pro wrestler?
um,
That's a good
my
one, huh?
my mom, kind of, she likes it, I think, but she, a lot of times whenever she watches my matches, she's like on edge all the time just because she doesn't want me to get hurt. And my dad just kind of doesn't really know what's going on. He's like, whatever.
Growing up, what wrestler that you mentioned and a little while ago did you look up to?
I'd say the wrestler I most looked up to whenever I was younger was probably CM Punk, just because he was just like never like the biggest guy, you know. He was never the biggest guy, but he's always the one that stood out the most, and that's what I always try to do, is kind of stand out with just everything that I do. And he was really big about, you know, being himself, and I felt like early on in my life I didn't really want to be myself. I wanted to like always fit in with like the popular crowd and stuff like that, but then he kind of helped me realize that, hey, it's okay to be yourself and do your own thing, stuff like that.
Right. CM Punk, he's from Chicago.
Yes, he is.
And he's great. Not as his name calls it, a punk, but he's nothing but a punk. Um, what other sports the Nick King has practiced or practices up to your young age?
So whenever I was really young, I started playing soccer, and that really wasn't my thing. So I did baseball, and I was never really good at that. But then wrestling, I picked up in like 8th grade, and I really kind of fell in love with that. And then football is another thing that I did a lot. I got really good at it, and it was kind of one of those things where I either had to choose go to college to play football or become a professional wrestler, and I definitely chose to become a professional wrestler.
And that's where we're at right now, huh?
Yep.
Up to now, what match that you can recall and say, man, that was a good match?
Like that I was personally in?
Right.
I think my favorite match I've ever been in was I faced Jake Lander in Toronto in front of Superkick, and it was on the pre-show, so I don't think anybody filmed it, but it was one of my favorite matches I've ever had, and the crowd there is just so electric on it. It's just like, honestly, kind of just like Galley.
And speaking of crowds, does the crowd influence your mood, your performance in the ring?
If you had asked me that question maybe like 2 years ago, I definitely would have said yes. But ever since the pandemic and everything like that, we've just been gotten kind of used to just performing in front of no crowds, in front of the studio taping and stuff like that. So I mean, you just got, once it's like a mindset, like the switch flips as soon as you get in the ring. For me, honestly, it's the same with Orion Creed.
This brings up a good one. When you are ready to go and you hear the crowd, well, and you just mentioned a valid point because of the pandemic, but when you are ready to go out there, do you still get butterflies or you get giddy?
I get
nervous,
giddy.
butterflies.
I get giddy. I get giddy for sure, but I never really get nervous. I wouldn't say, not like butterflies, but just giddy, like excited. Like I'm excited to go out there and usually hit somebody or knock someone out. So.
Yeah, let me tell you, you do. I mean, you do. It's like, it's a good thing I'm behind the microphone there, man, because it's, I mean, it's in the way to the ring, but 10 or 12 feet away from the path of you guys, because it's, oh God almighty. But that's what it's all about. And that's one of the reasons why I had to do this interview with you, because you are so exciting to watch in the ring, outside the ring, when you do your thing, when you fly out, when you do your flips, etc. For Jesus Christ Almighty! And again, it's we're not on Sunday, but it's a wow thing. Mm-hmm. So I mean, what motivates you? That's what I'm trying to make like a dough here?
I think what motivates me most is just trying to be like the best that I could possibly be at all points. Like wrestling is definitely one thing, but just kind of like never stopping either, just to like always try to win every single time, like do whatever it takes to win. Unfortunately, like just find an excuse to win.
I like that. Always find an excuse to win. Can I use that the next time I'm on the air?
Of course.
Always find courtesy of Nick King. There you go. Always find an excuse to win. I really like that. Do you follow? You're in pretty good shape. What is there a exercise routine or diet that you do? How many times a week do you exercise or yeah? What do you eat?
I try to eat on the days of the shows, especially. I try to eat like super lean, just so I don't feel like bloated out in the ring. I try to drink a gallon of water every single day. I usually do about 30 to 45 minutes of cardio at least every day. And then I usually lift almost every day, but I do take rest days. But usually I'll have like low carb days on some days and then high carb days just to kind of keep my size up and everything like that.
Out of the different moves that I just mentioned, the repertoire that you have, pick three and say, this is my go-to moves to either awe the crowd or go for the win, the 1, 2, 3.
My sharpshooter, definitely, if I want to go for the win, I usually just lock that in and it's over as soon as I get that in 100% of the time. My German is usually when I'm usually pretty mad whenever I hit the German, just like I'm trying to break their neck, honestly. And then my dive, that's whenever I'm kind of just pulling out all the stops in the tank to win, just to find that excuse to win, honestly.
Go back to that German. Explain it to us a little bit for folks that are watching this interview and this intermission at Gali Lucha Libre and don't know what you're talking about.
So basically, it's whenever I just like pick them up from a dead standstill and then just throw them back onto their neck and back area. Just really trying to hurt them, honestly.
On their tush. On their tush. On the younger crowd coming into the business and that look up to you, what would be your or suggestion or advice that Nick King could give them?
I would just tell them get out of their hometown as much as possible. Travel. You're gonna have to spend hours in a car at a time. Always do seminars and always never stop learning either. Always ask for advice after your matches and stuff like that, and just learn and wrestle. I mean, you're not gonna get any better if you don't wrestle.
You mentioned travel and do seminars, and you also mentioned Canada. Any other country that you've been to that you have wrestled?
No, so far the States and Canada is the only one that I've been to so far. I'm looking to expand that though in the next coming years though.
Good. Lucha Libre, WWE. What's the difference now that you're in Lucha Libre?
I think Lucha Libre is its own element for sure, and it's a lot faster paced than anything else that you will see on your regular TV. Just because you always have people flying everywhere, and you can always get arm dragged out of everything, it seems like, and you just never know what's coming next. If I'm going to be honest with Lucha Libre, like regular WWE and wrestling, it's kind of like, okay, this is what's going to probably happen next. Oh, okay, that happens, but then in Lucha, you have no idea what is happening. It's fast paced, edge of your seat all the time.
That's for somebody like me that's behind the microphone. I love it. I mean, don't take me wrong, but the excitement, it's like it's out of the ring, inside the ring, third rope, second rope, first rope. What's going on? And to me personally, I'm thrilled. And to have somebody like you and Creed in Gali Lucha Libre, it's unbelievable. Where can they find you on social media so they can write to you, get to know you, maybe ask you for a suggestion or advice?
My Instagram and Twitter are both Nick X King 4. My Facebook, I tend to use that for just my personal life, so please don't hit me up on Facebook. But on Instagram and Twitter, my DMs are open on both of them. So yeah, just feel free to shoot me a message. I'd love to talk to you.
That sounds great. Hey, thank you for stopping by, Nick King. Folks, you wanted to know a little bit about the King? We just had a little taste. Listen, I'll give you an open invitation. I'll leave it on the coffee table for you to rejoin us in the near future here at Gali Intermission's interviews, because you have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about, but producing the producing department is already yanking my ear and saying, "Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go," because the lucha libre must keep on. Again, Nick King, thank you very much, and the best to you, brother.
Thank you. Best to you too. See you later.